Hello and welcome to Tax Matters. My name is Olumuyiwa Matuluko. This is the month of June, and like they say, it means that the year 2014 is now split right down the middle. We thank God Almighty for keeping us alive. June 2014 also happens to be the month of the much-awaited Mondial, the World Cup. June to July, kicking off on June 12th. We know that you are all looking forward eagerly to that. On today's episode of Tax Matters, we are going to take you with us on a trip around Nigeria. We will take off in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. From there, we'll move on to Katsina, the capital of Katsina State, and then we'll berth in Abuja. The program is Tax Matters. The Chartered Institute of Taxation of Nigeria, CITN, as you all know, is the umbrella body for all tax administrators and practitioners in Nigeria. The CITN has a statutory authority to regulate the practice of taxation in Nigeria. Its membership is reputed to be the largest in Africa. Every year, the CITN organizes the annual tax conference, which attracts tax practitioners and administrators from all parts of Africa and other stakeholders. This year's edition was the 16th in the series, and it was held in Uyo, Akwa Ibom State. Mr. Adekunle Adeola is the chairman, 16th Annual Tax Conference Planning Committee.
I am delighted that this conference is holding in Uyo for several reasons. Firstly, the remarkable transformation Uyo and indeed Akwa Ibom has witnessed in recent times has made it a destination of choice for conferences, investments, and tourism. Our yearly tax conference, which is one of the flagship programs of the Institute, has over the years provided a veritable platform for tax professionals and arguably the largest gathering of such tax professionals in a single location to brainstorm and share ideas on issues of tax policy and the profession. The theme of this year's conference, which is achieving optimum tax compliance, challenges and sustainability, was chosen with a clear intent of discussing and appraising a fundamental challenge in the Nigerian tax system, which is the recurring problem of low tax compliance.
The lead paper of the 16th Annual Tax Conference, entitled Achieving Optimum Tax Compliance, Challenges and Sustainability, was delivered by the Executive Governor of Bauchi State, Alhaji Yuguda, who was ably represented by the Chairman of the Bauchi State Board of Internal Revenue, Alhaji Muazu Usman. The paper presentation session was chaired by Senator Effiong Bob, a former Chairman, Senate Committee on Finance.
In Nigeria, the economy has largely remained informal. Most business transactions that take place in this sector go undetected by tax authorities and other government regulators and therefore remain untaxed. Taxpayers, especially those in this sector, hardly keep records of their business transactions. Most often, this leads to under-declaration of income by taxpayers, which results in low payment of tax.
In the course of the 4-day conference, 3 other major papers were presented. All the papers were robustly debated. The 16th Annual Tax Conference was declared open by the Executive Governor of Akwa Ibom State, Dr. Godswill Akpabio, who was ably represented by the Deputy Governor, Lady Valerie Ebe. In separate interviews, the President and the Vice President of the CITN underscored the essence of the annual gathering.
A lot of recommendations have come out of this conference. Later on tomorrow, we will come with what is called recommendations. Okay. So when we come up with the recommendations may go to the National Assembly or wherever it will be needed. So from the recommendations, there will be an improvement in the tax system. For example, at this conference, we have condemned the issue of multiple taxes, that multiple taxes should not be allowed to continue. At this conference, some people have said the Joint Tax Board should be empowered to do what it's supposed to do. All these ones will come under the communique. So when they come on the communique and they get to the tax authorities, they will impact positively on the Nigerian tax system, and all the 36 tax authorities as well as the Federal Revenue Service, they will make use of the recommendations, and I believe there will be improvements not only in the Nigerian tax system but in the Nigerian economy.
For us, this is the reason for our existence. We came together because our founding fathers felt that taxation as a profession, that the tradition has come of age and therefore should not be subsumed under the covers of either accountancy or law or whatever discipline, that it should stand on its own, even though it is recognized as a multidisciplinary profession, which is not owned or should be owned by one group of professionals. Because if you look at the tripod of a tax system, tax policy, principally and predominantly economic theory comes to play. Talk about the tax law, lawyers will come there. When you talk about tax administration, the accountants come in to stewardship.
And from some of the participants,
the theme of this conference is achieving optimum tax compliance, challenges and sustainabilities. Now, we have had 3 different papers practically around this theme. What is the way forward?
So many things were put on the burner in the conference. We spoke on the fact that we need to go back to territorial tax system where we tax from the source. So many other things were actually discussed on how we monitor the compliance, how we change the tax policies and tax laws to English that we can easily read and understand.
We have learned a lot, particularly on this afternoon paper, which was presented by a professor of economics, issue of multiplicity of taxes, which has been addressed, the position of Joint Tax Board in trying to administer tax administration in Nigeria, the issue of empowering the board to give its best in tax administration. There was this issue of tax evasion, particularly on the part of multinationals, because the kind of record that they tender to tax authorities is different from what is on the ground.
This is what I call a gathering of champions. You have seasoned professionals, some of whom are our mentors, all coming under one roof to deliberate on the way forward for the taxation profession. And we've really learned a lot since yesterday. We've gotten to know what pertains in various jurisdictions in Nigeria, in Ghana, even in Libya.
Highlights of the 16th Annual Tax Conference include the launching of a brand new website for the Institute and the crowning of a Miss Tax, which took place at the Gala Night held on Friday, the 23rd of May, 2014. Special guest of honor at the closing ceremony of the 16th Annual Tax Conference was the Executive Secretary of the Joint Tax Board, Malam M.L. Abubakar. And tell you what, there was no dull moment at the 16th Annual Tax Conference. There were games, sports, tours, and jokes.
Like a pastor that was told to settle with the police. He was going home from a vigil. When they stopped him, insurance particulars expired. Driver's license expired. When they asked him, say, okay, pastor, just settle us so that you go. Pastor said, no, this vigil was a special one. There was a fasting. If I say to you now, my blessings might not be in full, or it might say, I may not even get anyone. They say, pastor, it is in the Bible. He say, which Bible? You, a policeman, knows the Bible more than me. He say, okay, pastor, look at Matthew 5:25. The pastor brought out the Bishop's Bible, the one with large print, with his torchlight. He opened it. He said, okay, pastor, you can read. Pastor went there quickly. Matthew 5:25. Say, settle quickly with thy adversary. Before he hands you over to the judge will hand you over to the officer. The officer will put you in jail.
We move on to Katsina, the headquarters of the ancient Katsina Emirate, capital city of Katsina State of Nigeria, where on Saturday, the 31st of May 2014, the entire emirate, led by the emir, rolled out the carpets to honor one of their distinguished sons in the person of Alhaji Muhammad Kabiru Mashi, the acting executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service. The 3-day-long event kicked off on Thursday, 29th of May, Democracy Day, with a novelty football match. And on Friday, the high and mighty from all walks of life, friends, family members, and the Federal Inland Revenue Service family gathered together at a dinner event.
This occasion indeed gives us pleasure with the members of FRS family. We are indeed very, very grateful for all of you for attending this dinner in honor of our Chief Executive, our Acting Executive Chairman, the new Kaigaman Katsina. Jama'a Mungode.
The new Kaigaman Katsina was decorated by the Benue arm of the larger Federal Inland Revenue Service family with the traditional TV apparel. And on Saturday, the climax, the main event, the turbaning of the Kaigaman Katsina, Alhaji Muhammad Kabiru Mashi. What kind of man is the new Kaigaman Katsina?
He's a man of the people and he's also God-fearing.
The celebrant is a man, is a quiet man, but who has the courage of his conviction. He's steadfast, he's a doer, and a sure-footed leader of men and resources. And he's somebody to be emulated.
He is a father to us. He is a leader who led by example. He's a very humble and gentle somebody who who love peace and stability within the system. You can attest to that based on his past performance in the past 2 years.
It's a long acquaintance. I have known him to they have the qualities of a leader. And I'm sure those are some of the reasons why the emir was able to pick him out and honor him with this title.
Well, Alhaji Kabir is a distinguished Nigerian, and I think he's well deserving of this honor. He has contributed immensely to the development of this emirate and Katsina in general. And I think on the national stage, he has done very well. And this is a recognition that comes from the society, because the emir is the traditional and spiritual leader of this society. So I congratulate him for a job well done, and I expect more from him, inshallah, in the near future.
Alhaji Kabiru Mashi, the acting executive chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, have been an humble man. And from the crowd you can see here today, you will see how people love him.
And from the homeboy himself. First and foremost, what does the title mean?
Well, thank you very much. The title means the Chief of Defense or Chief of Army of the Emirate Council. Or somebody who protects the image of the Emirate Council and the Emir of Katsina. I feel highly honored. I'm happy. I give thanks to Almighty Allah for today, and I don't even know what to say from the turnout. I will only say thank you very much to everybody. That the only thing I can do is to try my best not to disappoint the Emirate Council, the state government, and all those who know me, because this is a trust bestowed on me by Allah through the Emir of Katsina State, and I will not disappoint the Emirate Council, inshallah.
The rich culture of the people of Katsina was on display every minute of the day, every inch of the way. And of course, all guests and visitors felt the warm hospitality of the Katsina people. To the new Kaigaman Katsina, from Tax Matters, we say Baba.
Now, what do be this? Make it say where you. The thing where you side me too much, calculation is where okay.
Madam, me correct now. Now the price be that.
You are playing with fire, so me, I know say they never search fund for picking things. Oh, you want to play me, why you? You want to teach me a bit?
Madam, now everything with the advert on top. Now so with the seller.
Madam, you dey correct o.
Stop!
Good day, madam. Any problem?
Problem there.
The thing be say una not supposed to charge VAT for baby items and other things wey dey for VAT exemption list.
Sam.
Chai! This one na wayo receipt o. Correct receipt suppose contain the things wey you buy and the VAT wey dey on top. Then other items wey not get VAT, you go put them separately. Madam, I apologize, You go change that.
Change that. You see say we know wetin government.
To pay VAT dey compulsory. Now government they use to make our life jolly, to collect and pay sharply to government. It dey correct.
FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
Welcome back. Value added tax, VAT for short, was introduced in Nigeria in the year 1993 and effectively took off. The collection effectively took off in the year 1994. That means that VAT is 20 years old in Nigeria. So it is with many other African countries. And value-added tax has become a veritable source of revenue for all tax jurisdictions all over the world. But like in every sphere of human endeavor, there's always more to do. There's always more work to do, more grounds to cover. Between Monday the 2nd and Wednesday the 4th of June 2014, tax administrators from 12 African countries gathered together under the auspices of the African Tax Administration Forum, ATAF, for a seminar on VAT in financial services sector. The seminar was hosted by the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Mr. Osichuke, Coordinating Director, Modernization Group at the FIRS, represented the Acting Executive Chairman, Alhaji Kabiru Mashi, at the opening ceremony.
Today marks another milestone in the history of collaboration between the ATAF and the FIRS, as this is the second time Nigeria is hosting an ATAF event. The financial sector in most African countries is expanding rapidly and undergoing very significant reforms. The reforms are improving service delivery and bringing on new financial products, services, and intermediation architecture. Ladies and gentlemen, the tax treatment of financial services remains a subject of continuing debate, both in economic theory and applied tax policy. Many countries exempt financial services from VAT due to the fact that it is technically difficult to measure the value added to financial services on a transaction-by-transaction basis. This seminar, therefore, provides an opportunity to join the debate and perhaps look for an African perspective.
Mr. Kennedy Onyoyi is the Director, Institutional Development, ATAF.
This seminar was purely organized based on needs assessment. We had looked at different areas which you would cover, But the organizers felt that after getting the needs of those who are targeted to attend, it was important to have a seminar on VAT on financial services because it's an area of priority to us. ATAF is committed to capacity building through various activities, and this is just one of them. As you're aware, most of the countries, quite a number, in fact globally, on average VAT constitutes about 20% of total revenue of most of the tax administrations. I know for some tax administrations it is even much higher, even maybe up to 40% of total revenue. And therefore it is important that it is given due attention. However, VAT becomes problematic when it is applied in international trade, particularly in services, as different jurisdictions often use different rules to determine which of them has the right to tax a transaction. So this creates the risk of double taxation, which hurts business, or under taxation, which hurts government. And it is against this backdrop that VAT guidelines were established and endorsed during the Global VAT Forum, which was held in Tokyo from the 18th and 19th of April, so as to come up with global standards that can be applied when it comes to cross-border business-to-business transaction. That is going to ensure there is some element of uniformity.
In the course of the 3-day seminar, papers were presented, notes were compared, with a view to sharing from others' experiences, all in a bid to shore up revenue, especially the collection of VAT from operators in the financial services sector. But one may ask, why the financial services sector? Why the seminar in the first place?
ATAF, the African Tax Administration Forum, puts together seminars like this. We call it technical events, to provide a forum for tax officials across the continent to share experiences, to share best practices, and just learn from one another on topical issues. It also provides a forum where not only do we invite tax officials, but we invite taxpayer groups or their representatives. As you can see, that it's not only that we had tax officials from 12 countries here across Africa, we also had their representatives from the tax consulting end, PwC, KPMG, coming to talk about their experiences concerning how VAT administration has rubbed off on their clients who are providing financial services across Africa.
Why have you zeroed in on VAT in the financial services sector?
You know, the banking and financial service sector, it's simple and also a bit complex. There are a lot of services that they render. Some of them are not too clear even to the tax officer. And so a lot of money is generated and could be generated from VAT on those services rendered by banks, insurance companies, and all those other companies in the financial services area. There is a heavy potential there. Yes, tax offices are generating a lot of money from VAT levied on financial services providers, but there could be more. Taxmen gather together, ask ourselves, we need to optimize what we get from them. We can do better, and I'll do best. Let's share experiences. How do you do it in country A? How can you adapt or adopt that idea in country B? That's what we're about, to know how best to get optimum revenue from VAT levied on financial services.
What do you think any of these participants from across 12, 13 countries in Africa will be taken away from this seminar?
Yeah. Actually, one unique thing with our seminars is that we learn from each other's experience, best practice experience. Something that is being practiced in Zambia, maybe it's not being practiced in Ghana. So each country has the honors of picking what they can learn from other countries, especially in areas where they face challenges. So number one, from this forum, they are going to pick out what they can apply back home. And then secondly, this is also going to provide a basis for best practice benchmarking.
Participants to the 3-day ATAF seminar were received at Revenue House, Abuja, by the acting executive chairman of the FIRS, Alhaji Kabiru Mashi.
I'm happy you accepted the invitation to come to Nigeria for this training. I wanted it to be held in our training school, Turbaning. And I'm happy you are going there to see what we have. So maybe next time we can host another training. I'm ready and willing.
We want to thank you most sincerely for riding with us on today's episode of Tax Matters. It's been a jolly ride from Uyo to Katsina and down back into Abuja. What do we want from you? Let's do this again next week. Same station, same day of the week, same time of the day. It will be a fresh episode of Tax Matters. Have a fulfilling week ahead.